Embark on an epic journey with Ark, the Skeleton Knight, as he navigates a fantasy world after awakening as his in-game character. Join him as he explores new territories, battles monsters, and tackles quests in the pursuit of adventure and fortune. But beware, danger lurks around every corner. A pair of women are getting sexually assaulted by a group of guys and beg for them to stop before a heavily armored knight appears behind them and slashes the men in two, introducing himself as Ark. Some time ago, Ark wakes up beneath a tree and wonders where he is and what happened. He remembers himself playing asleep while playing the game and looks at himself. He instantly recognizes his gear, naming the totally op armor, the holy armor of Belenus, the twilight cloak which has mana regeneration and darkness resistance, the holy shield of Tutates that provides status immunities based on your level, and finally, the blade that strikes as fast as the lightning it's bathed in Calidbald. He realizes that he's his character from the game, Ark, and wonders if it's a dream but dismisses the thought since it feels too real. He decides to try his gear out and uses the Wyvern Slash. Upon seeing the amount of trees he was easily able to cut through, he questions if it was this strong and tries using magic as well, realizing he can use all the subclasses. He decides to teleport himself to eat something but realizes he can't do that since he doesn't have a destination in mind, so he makes do with teleporting short distances in a burst. Stopping at a stream, he decides to drink some water, but shockingly sees himself in the reflection and remembers he chose the skeleton avatar, so he tells himself to make sure to hide his face. Upon reaching a town, he sees a roasting bird and hurriedly heads to the mercenary guild to get some money through quests. Learning that he has to kill a monster, bandit, or beast and bring some sort of proof back to get a license, he heads back to the forest and effortlessly kills some boars before running into an ogre, which he swiftly slashes into two with his overpowered sword. As he's heading back with the corpses in a bag, he notices a group of bandits robbing some travelers. He remarks that this looks like some trouble, and it's obvious whose side he should be on, but wonders if it won't be too hard for him since it's PvP. He decides to wait a bit, but as one of the women starts getting sexually assaulted, he hurriedly decides to jump in since he's covered in mythic gear. He easily takes out the man assaulting the man and slashes through his mates with the Wyvern Slash. The woman's maid earnestly thanks him, disclosing that her mistress is Lauren Laria of the Louvert family. He asks them to get dressed while he takes care of the bandits and incinerates the corpses before taking all their loot. The maid asks him to guard them if he doesn't mind, so he accompanies them to the town, Louvert, before instantly heading to the guild and showing the man his proof. The man swiftly gives him his license and the rune stone from the Ark, revealing it can be made into weapons. Ark quickly takes the money to rent an inn and gorge himself, remarking he can't wait to begin questing. A woman cooks food and leaves her house as her daughter remarks that her mother goes to the field every morning to raise her and Helena. Later, Ark walks towards his next quest, disclosing that it's a job to guard someone while they're picking out herbs, which is the perfect combination of dull and meaningless that'll help him not raise too many eyebrows. The girl goes to the door and is intimidated by the large, hulking figure of Ark. She fearfully asks how she can help him, and he explains he's here for the job, remembering how the man at the counter had advised him to join a guild since he could receive much higher level quests. Ark had inwardly remarked he didn't want to be near anything that made him stand out more than he already does, and told the man that he's a bit of a herb picker himself. The man had amusingly asked him to be gentle in that case. Presently, he realizes what he meant and heads out with the girl, Marka, who discloses that her father died a year ago and her mother has been doing all the work, so she wants to take over herb picking, which her father did, and help her mother out. Touched, Ark remarks that all he did at that age was play games and excitedly declares they should gather as many herbs as possible in that case, which she enthusiastically agrees to. She shows him a plant, explaining its uses, and he appreciatively says she's really knowledgeable, and she answers that her father taught her everything before deciding to head towards the kabami tree. Ark alarmingly stops her and approaches a bush where he sees an injured flying squirrel. Marcus says it looks harmless, so he decides to heal it, after which the squirrel happily wants to accompany him. Ark names it Pontus since its tail looks like a fluffy dandelion, while Marca's mother, Siona, worriedly learns that Marca went out of the village with a strong-looking knight. Marca shows Ark the kabami tree, excitedly remarking that it's really white before a gigantic basilisk attacks her. But he quickly teleports and saves her in time, saying this beast would be a big problem for a mid-tier adventurer, but he can take it if he's cautious enough. He starts dodging its attacks, questioning who thought giving it 6 legs would be a good idea before delivering the final blow and slaying it. Marca excitedly praises him for being so strong, but he asks her to not reveal the fact that he took it down and takes a fanged board to her village. He asks the villagers to share it and decides to only take its rune stone as payment before requesting Siona to not scold Marca, as he's never met a daughter more caring of her mother, which she emotionally agrees to. He's later gifted a flower crown by Helena and promises to meet them again someday. At night, a group of knights take a basilisk down and find that one was defeated in a single strike, remarking it must be God or the devil himself. At the inn, Ark happily eats his dinner and decides to take more challenging quests from now. As a hooded woman is walking in the forest, she remarks that she seeks to be stronger. The pact between humans and elves is nothing but a farce at this point, as they continue to expand to their lands, and in this world filled with deceit and injustice, there is no one to offer them salvation, which is why she must become a warrior for her oppressed kindred. She sees Ark exiting a cave and takes out her sword. A while ago, as Ark chases after a group of bandits, he easily kills them and takes the treasure they have before noticing a few cages, but deciding to take what they can and head home. Meanwhile, the Lord of Dinto, Triton, asks his assistant, Celsica, for a report. He explains that the group of bandits they sent after Laria were unable to finish her off. Shocked, Triton says they were supposed to be good at their jobs, so Celsica explains that they were able to successfully defeat her escorts, but were killed by a mercenary passing by. Triton remarks that one person couldn't have easily defeated them so easily and asks of the 2 basilisks they sent. Celsica reveals they didn't work as expected and separated from each other, which is why they were killed off in individual pursuits. Triton asks where his good-for-nothing son, Eudalan, is, and he answers that he is apparently escorting the product today. Meanwhile, Ark walks out the cave only to be surprise attacked by the elf, who he recognizes as the girl he ran into in an alleyway. He asks her to stop because this is a misunderstanding, but she angrily declares that she has nothing to hear from a human knight who has stooped to banditry. Pontus suddenly climbs on top of Ark's helmet, which shocks her as she wonders what a spirit creature is doing with a human and decides to hear him out. He explains that he visited the cave on a quest to kill the bandits, but couldn't find any captive elves inside, hearing which, she says she's too late and walks off. He offers to aid her, but she denies as it is an issue of elves, but Ark remarks that can't lose the opportunity to help a pretty lady as a gamer. He visits the elf forest the next day and sees a group of elven girls getting kidnapped by some bandits before the woman intervenes and swiftly starts defeating them. Their leader, Eudalan, pulls a dirty trick by putting his sword at one of the girls' necks, so the woman stops attacking in defeat and the other bandits start examining her merchandise. Suddenly, Ark appears in front of them and swiftly defeats the bandits, freeing the girls and healing their injuries. The woman decides to trust him and sends the girl to their village with 2 escorts before introducing herself as Arian Glenny's Maple. She suddenly receives a message asking her to come at once as they've made their headquarters in Dinto. Hearing this, she confirms that Ark is a mercenary and asks if she can hire him right now. As we wrap up the journey thus far of Ark and Arian on their thrilling adventures in another world. From battling monsters to aiding those in need, subscribe for more amazing anime content, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to get the latest updates. Till next time, stay dreaming, anime fans.